Welcome student. In this class I will discuss the type, form and theory of precipitation. Very important topics. In my last video I had explained about the condensation process, how condensation occur, what are the important conditions for condensation to occur. Okay, so I said that there are three conditions for condensation to occur. One is the relative humidity should be 100%. Second is there should be adiabatic cooling of the air, and third is dust particles should be present. At the same time I said that in the absence of dust particle, condensation is possible, but for this it is essential that the relative humidity should be 330%. On the other hand, if in place of dust particles, salt particles are present, then condensation may occur if relative humidity range between 70 to 80%. Getting well now? So when upliftment of the air occur, condensation occur because when there occur upliftment of the air without mixing up with the mixing of this air with the adjoining. Adiabatic temperature change is due to vertical movement of the air. There are two processes of upliftment of the air. One is referred to as thermal upliftment and second is referred to as mechanical upliftment. For actually thermal upliftment occur due to thermal factor, and it occur when the temperature of the air is more than the temperature of the adjoining air. Actually, suppose temperature of this air is 20 degrees Celsius and temperature of adjoining air is 15 degrees Celsius, then it provides ideal condition for the upliftment of the air. Okay, if 10 degree, when this air contains 10 liter of water, so here the relative humidity is 10 upon 20 into 100 is equal to 50%, and hence the air is unsaturated and it poses the tendency to retain water, more water in the form of water vapor, because air can retain water in the vapor form, that is gaseous state, up to relative humidity of 100%. Getting well now? So when the air will uplift, so this air will have to work against the gravitational pull of the earth, that's why, and this work will be performed at the cost of its own internal energy, because this air is the example of closed system. This uplift without mixing up with the adjoining air. That's why in closed system, if the closed gaseous system perform work, the performance of the work is at the cost of its own internal energy. Okay, so that's why when upliftment occurs, actually there occur reduction in the temperature. Suppose at this side the temperature of the air become 10 degree and the temperature of the adjoining air is also 10 degree. It is clear now? So upliftment occurs till the air attain the temperature equal to the adjacent air. So it means there will be no further upliftment, and then after the air will here relative humidity is 100%. Getting well now? So 10 degrees Celsius here is the dew point, because temperature at which the relative humidity is 100% is referred to as dew point now. Then after the air will expand or blow in horizontal direction, it will cause expansion of the air, and expansion of the air further causes reduction in the temperature. Then the air will be supersaturated. Getting well now? Suppose due to expansion the temperature of this air reduced to 5 degrees Celsius. Okay, so in this case it attained the relative humidity of 200%, right? So 5 liter of additional water is present in the air now. Okay, so this 5 liter will convert into water droplet. Why water droplet? Because the dew point temperature is more than 0 degrees Celsius, it is 10 degree here. Okay, you see I had said that actually water vapor is added through evaporation process. So suppose if liquid will absorb Q amount of energy, then it will convert into gaseous form now, and this energy is referred to as latent heat of evaporation. Okay. On the other hand, when condensation occurs, the reverse process occurs, that is gas convert into liquid form now. So during this process, this Q amount of energy is released. This Q amount of energy is referred to as latent heat of condensation. if latent heat of condensation is sufficient enough. Actually, latent heat of condensation will be more only when the heating of the earth's surface will be more. Okay. So in this case, the latent heat of condensation thus liberated here will further warm up a certain part of the air, and hence the air will attain temperature more than the adjoining air, and hence it will cause the initiation of second cycle of convection. Okay. So here in first cycle of convection, the rate of decrease of temperature is referred to as dry adiabatic rate of cooling, and it is 10 degrees Celsius per kilometer. Okay. And in the second cycle of convection, the rate of decrease of temperature is referred to as moist adiabatic rate of cooling or wet adiabatic rate of cooling, and it is 6 degrees Celsius per kilometer. It is clear now, right? And hence temperature is lower down. In second cycle of convection, the temperature reduces below 0 degrees Celsius. That's why layering upon layering of the ice occur, and hence very solid ice are produced, and when it fall on the earth's surface, it causes hailstorm. Getting well now? So it is clear that for hailstorm to occur, the latent heat of condensation should be adequate now, should be more, and this is possible only when there occur effective heating of the earth's surface. Okay. On the other hand, you see, if in first cycle of convection the dew point is at the temperature less than 0 degrees Celsius, suppose this is 0 degrees Celsius and dew point is at minus 10 degrees Celsius. Getting well now? In this case, water vapor will directly convert it to ice crystal, and this process is referred to as condensation through sublimation process. So if in first cycle of convection dew point is at the temperature less than 0 degrees Celsius, then the ice is formed, and when this ice will fall on the earth's surface, it is referred to as rainfall, snowfall. Getting well now? So snowfall occur when the dew point associated with the first cycle of convection is less than 0 degrees Celsius. Getting well now? So you see, in case of India, right, here India is basically a tropical country, though latitudinally southern part of India is tropical, whereas northern part of India is temperate in character. But due to the presence of Himalaya as northernmost boundary, the polar air mass are not allowed to enter inside Indian subcontinent, and the entire subcontinent remain under the impact of the tropical wind. That's why Indian climatic condition is the example of tropical climatic condition. Okay. So the high temperature condition prevail here. Okay. So actually you see, but in Himalayan zone, you know that temperature decreases with increase in height with altitude. That is clear now. So in Himalayan zone, more particularly, this is Western Himalaya, this is Western Himalaya, and this is Eastern Himalaya. Okay, Western Himalaya is referred to as temperate Himalaya, right? 82.5 degree east longitudinal line is the dividing line. Okay, 82.5 degree east longitudinal line is the dividing line. The part of Himalaya located to the west of 82.5 degree east longitudinal line is referred to as Western Himalaya or temperate Himalaya. On the other hand, the part of Himalaya located to the east of 82.5 degree east longitudinal line is referred to Eastern Himalaya or tropical Himalaya. The temperature of tropical Himalaya is more, but temperature of temperate Himalaya is less now. So that's why you see normally when first cycle of convection occur here, so the temperature falls below 0 degrees Celsius now. So that's why Western Himalayan zone, including Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, receive snowfall. Getting well now? Snowfall not occur particularly in Western Himalayan zone because temperature is very low. There is no intense heating of the surface. Okay. On the other hand, in India during March to May, very intense heating of the surface occur. Then second cycle of convection start and it causes hailstorm. Getting well now? So actually high snowfall not occur in remaining Indian subcontinental part, it is clear, because temperature is high, India is tropical in character. That's why Delhi, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Karnataka, Kerala, Telangana, right? Maharashtra, Gujarat, Odisha not get snowfall, okay? Actually these states may receive, may get particularly hailstorm, but hailstorm is not common in Western Himalaya. This part is characterized by the snowfall. Getting well na? Because due to height there occur reduction in the temperature na, and hence during first cycle of convection the dew point is at the temperature less than 0 degree Celsius. Okay, so what is the condition it is clear na? Now see one important point. Now I said that in which condition snowfall will occur, right? What is the condition for occurrence of the hailstorm, it is clear, okay, right? Now see, as far as the question of cloud formation is concerned, so as cloud cloud is formed as a result of condensation process, na? Right? Condensation process is the process of conversion of water vapor either in water droplet or in ice crystal. Okay, both may happen depending on the temperature of the dew point. If dew point is more than 0 degree, then water vapor will convert into water droplet, and if dew point is at the temperature less than 0 degree, then water vapor will directly convert into ice crystal, and this process of condensation is referred to as condensation through sublimation. Okay, now see, actually whether suppose this is Earth surface and cloud formation occur here, okay, it contain either water droplet or ice crystal. Getting well now, right? Water droplet or ice crystal. Getting well. Now see, this is the cloud, right? And when this droplet fall on the Earth surface, either in solid form or liquid form or the mixture of the two, it is referred to as precipitation. What is the meaning of precipitation? It is clear na? You see, actually there are two types of cloud. Some cloud not causes rainfall, but some cloud causes rainfall. The cloud which causes rainfall, is referred to as unstable cloud. Stable cloud, okay? But the cloud which not causes rainfall is referred to as stable cloud. Getting well now, right? So actually the weather forecaster are in the position to predict whether cloud will cause rainfall or not. So there are certain criteria to particularly to give the assessment, to give the conclusion. It is clear na? So broadly there are two types of cloud. One is the first type of cloud is referred to as unstable cloud. Unstable cloud is capable to cause precipitation. On the other hand, there are certain clouds which are not capable to cause precipitation. It is referred to as stable cloud. A stable cloud will impart a stable atmospheric condition. Unstable cloud will cause particularly unstable atmospheric condition. So according to the height, there are several types of cloud. Like particularly if the height of the cloud is more than 18,000 feet, then it is referred to as cirrus cloud. Okay, right? If its height is between 6,500 to 18,000, then it is referred to as alto cloud. Okay, if it is below in the lower part, it is referred to as stratus cloud. Okay, so actually there are several types of cloud, and you must know that cumulonimbus cloud has the capacity to cause intense rainfall. Okay, cumulonimbus, very important from prelims point of view now, right? So actually what is the character of cloud, how cloud formation occur now? Now see, whatever water droplet or ice crystal which is produced in the as a result of condensation, their size is very fine. The diameter of water droplet or ice crystal which are found in the cloud or which are produced as a result of condensation is comparable with the diameter of human hair. Okay, right? मनुष्य के बाल के diameter के equivalent. Okay, so in this case, if this droplet will try to descend in downward direction, you see, right? After the condensation cloud formation occur and the droplet try to descend in downward direction, so due to the force of buoyancy exerted by atmospheric air, these droplets are not allowed to fall on the Earth's surface, and hence precipitation cannot occur. Getting well now? You see, normally when cloud is formed, the water droplet or ice crystal which and of which the cloud is made up of, right? Their diameter is very fine, very small, and it can be compared as with the diameter of human hair. So when this droplet try to descend downward to cause precipitation, they are being stopped by the force of buoyancy exerted by the atmospheric air. उत्प्लावन लगता है ऊपर की दिशा में, ठीक करिए ना. Actually cloud droplet, water droplet try to descend and force of buoyancy act in upward direction according to Archimedes law. It is clear na? So and hence the cloud will not, this cloud is not capable to cause rainfall. Getting well na? It is said that the cloud can cause rainfall only when the downward descending velocity of the water droplet is more than the terminal velocity. Okay, is more than the terminal velocity. Getting well now? So if the velocity of the droplet will be more than terminal velocity, then only it is capable to nullify the impact of the force of buoyancy and to cause rainfall. That is clear now? Right? Every droplet should have velocity more than the terminal velocity. Terminal velocity is defined as the minimum velocity required to nullify the impact of the force of buoyancy. Getting well, right? So it is how, when, in which condition the droplet will attain velocity more than the terminal velocity is important aspect now. So you see the water droplet or ice crystal will attain velocity more than the terminal velocity only when at least 10 lakh water droplets should combine to form large water droplet. Okay, at least 10 lakh water droplet should combine to form large water droplet, right? In this case their velocity will be more than the terminal velocity. Okay, now it is capable to nullify the force of buoyancy exerted by the atmospheric air, and then it will fall on the surface causing rainfall. It is clear na? Right? So in which condition, what is the optimum condition for precipitation to occur? The optimum condition for precipitation to occur is the water droplets or ice crystal found in the cloud should have the velocity more than the terminal velocity. And what is the meaning of terminal velocity? The terminal velocity is the minimum velocity which is required to nullify the impact of the force of buoyancy. Getting well now? Right? And it is possible only when at least 10 lakh water droplet will combine to form large water droplet. It is clear now? When large water droplet will fall in downward direction, and if there occur a small water droplet, so this water droplet will also be absorbed by the large water droplet. Now, this process is referred to as direct capture. Okay, direct capture, and gradually the size will be getting large now. Okay, it is clear now? So in which condition, what is the condition to optimum condition to cause rainfall? It is clear now? The droplet should have velocity more than the terminal velocity, and it is possible only when the droplet, at least 10 lakh droplet will combine to form a large droplet. Then only it will attain the velocity more than the terminal velocity, nullifying the impact of the force of buoyancy, and hence precipitation start. Getting well now? Now see, now the question is how the combination occurred. It is clear now? So actually, with an objective to explain this fact, several theories were propounded, and these theories are referred to as theory of precipitation. Getting well now? Right? Theory of precipitation. Theory of precipitation mainly particularly focus on the main focus of the theory of precipitation to explain the mechanism how the water droplet combine to form large droplet. It is clear now? So you see, in this context, I will explain two theories which will be sufficient to explain the precipitation throughout the Earth's surface. The first theory is ice crystal theory, right? First theory is ice crystal, ice crystal theory, and second is coalescence theory, coalescence theory. Salyan Sankalpana. First is ice crystal theory and second is coalescence theory. Getting well now? Ice crystal theory was propounded by Todd Bergeron. right, who was German geographer, he propounded ice crystal theory, whereas Bowen, who was Australian climatologist, propounded coalescence theory. It is clear, na? What is ice crystal theory, you say? Actually, ice crystal theory was propounded by Tor Bergeron. According to ice crystal theory, the water can remain in the outer space, right, at the temperature up to minus 40 degrees Celsius. Right, I am repeating the fact. According to this theory, but this theory is based on the assumption that water may remain in the liquid form in the upper part of Earth's atmosphere at the temperature up to minus 40, that is 40 degrees Celsius. It is clear now? And this water is referred to as super cold water. It means between 0 to minus 40 degrees Celsius, water may exist in the liquid form. May exist means water droplet as well as ice crystal will remain in the cloud if its temperature range between 0 to minus 40 degrees Celsius. It is clear now, right? On the Earth's surface, 0 degrees Celsius temperature is the freezing point, but this 0 degrees Celsius is not freezing point for the liquid, for the water in the atmosphere, because temperature and pressure conditions are quite different in the upper part of Earth's atmosphere. Getting well now? So Tor Bergeron said that water may remain in the liquid form in the upper part of the atmosphere at the temperature up to minus 40 degrees Celsius, and this water is referred to as super cold water. Getting well now? What is the meaning of super cold water? It is clear now? Tor Bergeron said that according to ice crystal theory, those clouds can cause rainfall which contain both water droplet and ice crystal. This is the basic of this theory, basic assumption of this theory. Okay, according to ice crystal theory, those clouds can cause rainfall or precipitation, right, when it contains both water droplet and ice crystal. Getting well now? Right, water droplet and ice crystal. Getting well now? Actually, you see, if cloud formation occur and this cloud contain water droplet, this cloud contain, this is water droplet, and this is ice crystal. Getting well now? Right? So according to ice crystal theory, according to Tor Bergeron, right, at 0 degrees Celsius temperature, the vapor pressure of both water droplet as well as ice crystal remain the same. But as temperature decreases below 0 degrees Celsius, the vapor pressure of water droplet becomes at minus 10 degrees Celsius. The vapor pressure of water droplet become more than twice as compared to that of ice crystal. If vapor pressure is more and pressure is low, then water vapor will get evaporated, na? Right? In this case, since at minus 10 degrees Celsius, the vapor pressure of water droplet is more as compared to that of the ice crystal. That's why water vapor, actually this is water droplet will evaporate, it is clear na, and will start condensing around ice crystal. Consequently, the size of the ice crystal will get enlarged. Getting well now? Because I said that at least 10 lakh water droplets should combine to form large droplet. The water droplet, then only it will attain velocity more than the terminal velocity. So actually at minus 10 degrees Celsius or at the temperature above minus 10 degrees Celsius, there is a marked difference in the vapor pressure of water droplet and ice crystal, and that actually the water vapor of water droplet, vapor pressure of water droplet is more than twice as compared to that of the ice crystal. Consequently, evaporization of water droplet occur and it start condensing around ice crystal, and hence when the process is repeated again and again, the size of ice crystal get enlarged and then it attain the velocity more than the terminal velocity. Getting well now? It will start falling on the Earth's surface. It is clear? So if this ice crystal, this ice will fall after melting, then it will cause drizzle or rainfall. It is clear now? If you see it will fall in the solid form, it is either referred to as snowfall or particularly hailstorm, depending on the density. If density is more, then a snowfall. If density is less, then the hailstorm, it is clear na. But if both particularly precipitation occur in both solid as well as liquid form, then it is referred to as sleet, okay, which is in Hindi referred to as sahim brishti, him ke saath brishti. It is clear na. When the water as well as ice crystal fall on the ground simultaneously. Getting well now? So what is ice crystal? Getting well now? Right? What is the basic assumption of the ice crystal theory? It is clear. You see, according to ice crystal theory, those clouds are capable to cause rainfall which contain both water droplet as well as ice crystal. It is clear na? And it is the differences in the vapor pressure of water droplet and ice crystal that causes the evaporization of water droplet and condensation of this vapor around the ice crystal. Na? Consequently, the size of ice crystal is enlarged, right, and then it attains the velocity more than the terminal velocity, and hence precipitation start. So what is the basic theme of ice crystal? It is clear now, right? You see one important point. The ice crystal theory, right, according to ice crystal theory, those clouds can cause rainfall which contain both water droplet as well as ice crystal. Na? It is clear now. So this theory holds true for in context of the polar zone, right? In polar zone, the cloud contain both water droplet as well as ice crystal. But in temperate zone, actually cloud formation occur maximum at the height of 2400 meter, and the minimum temperature of the cloud is not below 8 degrees Celsius. That is clear na? In tropical zone. So in this case, whether you can apply ice crystal theory? No. In this case, to cause rainfall for precipitation of the tropical region where cloud formation occur at the height of 2400 meter and minimum average temperature of the cloud is not below 8 degrees Celsius. In this case, if cloud formation occur at the temperature 8 degrees Celsius, means dew point is above 0 degrees Celsius. Na? In this case, water vapor will convert into water droplet only. No ice crystal will be found in this ice, in this cloud, and hence you cannot apply ice crystal theory to explain precipitation in tropical zone. It is clear na? So that's why Bowen propounded coalescence theory. Okay, coalescence theory. Getting well now? So actually coalescence theory is based on the assumption that it is the water droplet which themselves combine to form large water droplet, and hence the large water droplet and attain velocity more than terminal velocity and precipitation start. It is clear na? So initially it was thought that if turbulence occur in the cloud mass zone, okay, then water droplet will collide and hence their size will be enlarged. Getting well now? But later this concept was refuted by physicists because, right, they said that whenever there will be collision of the water droplet, it will cause further fragmentation of the water droplet but not combination. It is clear na? So again, particularly effort was made to explain the mechanism through which they get enlarged, na? Right? So actually in this context, some geographers said, some climatologists said that actually cloud droplet, water droplet contain positive and negative charge, na? Right? Actually same charge repel each other and opposite charge attract each other, na? So actually the droplet having opposite charge get attracted and hence their size enlargement in their size occur, na? Right? So you can explain the enlargement of the size of the droplet on the basis of negative charge held by two different water droplet, na? Okay, getting well na? Right? So this is also important assumption, na? Okay. And another aspect is, you see, another aspect to explain that, explain this fact is, there are two types of cloud. When picture was taken, picture of the cloud was taken, it was revealed that there are two types of category of cloud. In some cloud, the size of the droplet are the same. It is clear, na? Size, and in some cloud, the size of the droplet are not the same. They are of dissimilar size, na? It is clear, na? Dissimilar size. Getting well, na? Right? If the size of the water droplet will be the same, then they will start descending downward direction with the same velocity. In this case, there is least possibility of their combination. It is clear? But if the cloud contain water droplet of different size, they will have different descending velocity. Na? In this case, they will come in contact with each other and hence their size will get enlarged. That is clear? Na? When their size will, when at least 10 lakh water droplets will combine in this way, then it will form large water droplet having their velocity more than the terminal velocity and precipitation start. It is clear na? So actually this is coalescence theory, right? What is the basic difference between ice crystal theory and coalescence theory? It is clear na? But the ice crystal theory is capable to explain the precipitation in higher latitudinal zone, you can say in polar zone, whereas coalescence theory is applied to explain precipitation in lower latitudinal zone. Getting well now? Actually, one important point I will explain here, right? You must have heard about cloud shedding or artificial rainfall. It is clear now? देखिए, actually cloud formation is the general phenomena, but every cloud not causes rainfall. No? It is clear now? Suppose this is a stable cloud. A stable means not causes rainfall, right? Its size is the same, maybe. Or if on the in context of ice crystal theory, you may say that if it is made up of water droplet only, there is no ice crystal. Na? It is clear na? So in this case, either if the size will be the same, then no precipitation can occur according to coalescence theory, or if the cloud not contain water droplet as well as ice crystal simultaneously, then it is not capable to cause rainfall. Na? It is clear now? So you see, and hence it will be a stable cloud because it is not capable to cause rainfall. So if you will spread silver iodide in this cloud mass zone, silver iodide with the help of the helicopter or aircraft, you know that silver iodide act as a coolant. Okay, it will cause the conversion of certain water droplet into ice crystal. In this case, the cloud will contain both water droplet and ice crystal, and if temperature of certain and hence you know that vapor pressure of water droplet is more as compared to that of the ice crystal. That's why whatever water droplet are present there will start evaporating and condensing around the ice crystal. Consequently, their size will be getting large now, and hence precipitation will start. This is referred to as artificial rainfall. It is clear now? And the spreading of silver iodide is referred to as cloud shedding. SEEDING. Getting well now? Right? The cloud shedding or artificial rainfall is based on the ice crystal theory propounded by Torbergeron. What is ice crystal theory? You see the time. What is ice crystal theory? It is clear. What is the basic? So what is theory of precipitation? Is clear now? There are two theories on the basis of which one can explain the precipitation to occur. Okay, and I also explained about artificial rainfall. It is clear na? Artificial rainfall is not considered eco-friendly. It is also not considered. It is not economically viable method. It is clear na? Right? You see, actually, then after another aspect is the form of precipitation. What is ice crystal theory and coalescence theory? It is almost clear now. Now see form of precipitation. Form of precipitation. Form of precipitation. Okay, the form of precipitation are: one is drizzle, second is rainfall, third one is snowfall, fourth one is hailstorm, and fifth one is sleet. It is clear that these are referred to as form of precipitation. First one is drizzle, second is rainfall, third one is snowfall, next one is hailstorm, and finally there is sleet. Okay, if the size of the droplet is less than less than 0.5 millimeter, okay, right, very fine, then it is referred to as drizzle. Okay, once drizzle start, it will continue for a long period ना, right? In rural area, it is referred to as झिस्सी पड़ना, झिस्सी पड़ रहा है. Getting well ना? So what is the meaning of drizzle? It is clear ना? The size of the water droplet is very fine and it continue for a long time. Okay, but if the size of the water droplet is large, then it is referred to as rainfall. It means the drizzle as well as rainfall, precipitation occur in the liquid form now, right? Actually, the two differ depending on the size of the water droplet. If size is fine, then it is referred to as drizzle. If size is large, size of the water droplet is large, it is referred to as rainfall now. Okay. The third form of precipitation is snowfall, right? Snowfall occur in low temperature zone. In higher latitudinal zone, there will be a snowfall. In tropical and temperate zone, a snowfall occur at higher altitude in hilly area, because in hilly area temperature is low, and the in first cycle of convection the dew point remain less than 0 degree Celsius. Then water vapor directly convert into ice crystal, and this phenomena is referred to as light condensation through sublimation process. And in this case, a snowfall will occur. In a snowfall, fluffy mass of a snowfall on the ground, and this is of tourist attraction. It is clear na? In Himachal Pradesh, Jammu, Kashmir, this is common phenomena. Getting well now? The third particularly form of precipitation is hailstorm. So hailstorm, in case of hailstorm, the ice crystal are having very high density, na? Right? They are very compact, okay? And hailstorm occur when only when second cycle of convection start. Okay, it means hailstorm are associated with second cycle of convection. And for second cycle of convection, I have already explained that the second cycle of convection will start only when there will be intense heating of the surface. Okay, so in India, I given the example in Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh. Okay, there occur intense heating of the earth's surface during March to May. Okay, and hence particularly the latent heat of condensation associated with the first cycle, 5 cycle of convection is enormously large, and it favor the initiation of the second cycle of convection. Hence, hailstorm occur. So, if during the whole day there is intense, particularly heat, high temperature, then in the evening time, hailstorm is normally expected. It is clear now? So, in which case hailstorm will occur? It is clear now? Hailstorm not mostly occurred in particularly hilly area. It is the characteristic of tropical zone, and it is the characteristic of plain area mainly. It is clear now? Right? And in case of sleet, both the precipitation occur both in solid as well as liquid form. That is in the snow form as well as in the liquid form. That is water droplet. Okay. So these 5, it means there are 5 forms of precipitation. Okay. Now we will discuss about the type of precipitation. Very important. Right? Type of precipitation. Type of precipitation. Okay, so you see, first type is convectional precipitation. Second is orographic precipitation. Third is frontal precipitation. And fourth one is cyclonic precipitation. We have 4 types of precipitation. One is convectional precipitation. Second is orographic precipitation. Third one is frontal precipitation. And fourth one is referred to as cyclonic. Getting well now? Convectional precipitation means samvahaniya vrishti. Orographic means parvatiya vrishti. Frontal means vatagra vrishti. and cyclonic means Chakravarti Vrishti. Getting well now? So there are 4 type of precipitation and different part of the earth surface. It is clear now? Getting well now? Actually, convectional precipitation is the characteristic of lower latitudinal zone only. It not occur in the polar zone or higher latitudinal zone. Okay? Convectional precipitation start when there occur intense heating of the surface, and when the air come in contact with the surface is warmed up and ascend in upward direction, initiating the convectional cycle. When the air will uplift, it will cool down. In the upper part, it will expand, and hence particularly cloud formation occur, and it will start rainfall to occur. It is clear na? So in convectional precipitation, intense rainfall occur with lightning and thundering. Okay, and you see the most ideal zone of convectional rainfall is the zone located between 0 to 10 degree latitude in both the hemisphere, that is equatorial low pressure belt. In equatorial low pressure belt, convectional rainfall is recorded, and this low pressure belt is the rainiest belt of the world. Getting well now? Right? In India, you see, right, during March to May, in the interior part of Indian continent, right, convectional precipitation is recorded. Getting well now? Right? But along the coastal part, cyclonic rainfall is recorded. Right? Getting well now? During March to May. You know that March to May period is referred as pre-monsoonal precipitation or dry summer. Na? During this period, different part of India get different amount of rainfall, and these rainfall are also known by different name. As for example, you see in Assam or West Bengal, it is referred to as tea showers. Okay, in Tamil Nadu, it is referred to as mango showers because it helps in the ripening of mango. In Kerala, it is referred to as cherry blossom. Okay, चेरी का कॉफ़ी के फूल खिलते हैं. इट इज़ क्लियर ना? तो एक्चुअली ड्यूरिंग मार्च टू मे द इंटीरियर पार्ट ऑफ इंडिया get convectional rainfall. Okay, and convectional rainfall is the chief characteristic of the equatorial zone, that is equatorial low pressure belt. Getting well now? Right? In equatorial belt, equatorial low pressure belt, or equatorial type of climate, I had said that every day up to 2 p.m. intense convectional phenomena occur. In the evening, every day intense convectional rainfall occur, and in the night the sky remain clear. Okay. So what is the characteristic of equatorial zone? It is clear na? Getting well na? What is the characteristic of equatorial zone? Getting well? Okay. Now see, second is orographic. Okay. It is clear that in case of convectional rainfall, the upliftment of the air occur due to thermal factor, and this is referred to thermal upliftment. Getting well now? Now see, the second type of precipitation is orographic precipitation. Orographic. It is clear na? So in orographic rainfall, you see, oro means mountain. Okay. So actually, if moisture laden air, along the path of the moisture laden air, any mountain or hill is present and wind is blowing in this way. It is clear na? Getting well na? So the wind is due to the mechanical obstruction, the wind are compelled to ascend along the slope of the mountain. So this component of the wind is referred to as anabatic wind. Anabatic, A-N-E-B-E-T-I-C, A-N-A-B-E-T, anabatic wind. Getting well na? And the wind which descend downward is referred to as katabatic wind. Katabatic, K-E-T-A-B-E-T-I-C, katabatic wind. What is the difference between anabatic? The upslope wind is referred to as anabatic wind, and downslope wind is referred to as katabatic wind. It is clear na? Anabatic and katabatic, it is clear na? And the slope along which there occur upliftment of the air is referred to as windward side. This is windward side. Windward side. It is clear na? And this is referred to as leeward side. It is clear. This is windward side and this is leeward side. You see, here the wind uplift along the slope of the mountain. This wind has to work against the gravitational pull of the earth. That's why marked reduction in this temperature will occur. If the temperature will fall, then relative humidity will increase, and if the relative humidity will become 100%, then condensation will start and cloud formation will occur and rainfall will start now. It is clear now. So this type of precipitation is referred to as orographic rainfall. Getting well now? On the other hand, when the wind cross this side now, so here particularly the wind is favored by the gravitational pull to descend in downward direction. It will have more velocity and hence more friction. So due to friction, the temperature of the temperature will reduce. That's why relative humidity will increase now. But along this side, since the friction causes increase in the temperature, that's why relative humidity decreases and hence the wind become more unsaturated. That's why in this side no cloud formation occur, right? And hence precipitation is not effective in this side now. It is clear now. Though if the height of the mountain is low, then some cloud which is produced here get deflected here and some amount of rainfall will also be recorded. As for example, you see this is Western Ghat now, right? So with respect to southwest monsoon, this X side is windward side and this Y side is leeward side now. During June to September, southwest monsoon causes an effective rainfall along western slope of Western Ghat, where more than 300 centimeter rainfall is recorded along this side now, right? It is clear. This is wet region of India, and when the southwest monsoon cross the Western Ghat and descend downward along eastern slope of Western Ghat, right, it is warmed up now, but some amount of cloud is deflected here and hence eastern side get rainfall between 65 to 75 centimeter of the rainfall now. Getting well now? So if this is Western Ghat, so in this side intense rainfall is recorded and it is of 300 centimeter, right? And along this side 65 to 75 centimeter rainfall is recorded. It is clear now? So actually why western slope of Western Ghat receive more than 300 centimeter rainfall? Because it is the windward side with respect to southwest monsoon. Right here, southwest monsoon act as a navigating wind ascending upslope along the slope of Western Ghat. It is clear now? The eastern slope of Western Ghat is, you see, is leeward side now. Getting well now? So along leeward side, 65 to 75 centimeter rainfall occur now. But you see, if the height of the mountain is more, in this case, no rainfall is recorded along leeward side of the mountain. Then only this leeward side is referred to as rain shadow zone. Getting well, right? When leeward side will be referred to as will form the rain shadow zone. It is clear now? When the height of mountain is more, in this case the leeward side will not get a rainfall and hence this side is referred to as rain shadow zone. Okay, you see, actually you see this picture. This is Western Ghat now. So the height of Western Ghat increase from north to south now, and it attains maximum height in the south in the form of Annamudi, which is the highest peak of Annamalai now. Annamalai is considered the highest peak of Western Ghat. Clear? Right? So that's why you see here in northern part side is less. That's why this area is the leeward side, getting rainfall between 65 to 75 centimeter. But in Tamil Nadu, you see in this side, in southern part, since height is more, that's why this form the complete rain shadow zone. Here Tamil Nadu is located. It is clear now? So since Tamil Nadu is located along rain shadow zone of Western Ghat, that's why Tamil Nadu not receive rainfall through southwest monsoon during winter season. Ekdam clear hua na? Why when leeward side will be referred to as rain shadow zone, it is clear na? It will be referred